Hey, Jim. Ah. Ah. Hey, Jim, you know what that smell is? That's burning steel.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, me and Eric were just welding the post that's holding up this very platform you're standing on.
Is that what y'all were doing down
Yeah,
there?
I don't know why you were up here before we finished it,
Well,
but we were just finishing out the well.
Let's just consider it testing out the product.
Well, it held.
Good.
You know what else? You know that's also the smell of right now? You know what I smell?
Steaks from the Loft.
No, actually, it's cigarette smoke from the Masons.
Doesn't that smell so good?
It does. So we're now in our unfinished building, and we have a fast and tight deadline to get this thing done any day now.
If you didn't know, it's unfinished.
We actually made reverse progress this week. Behind me, there was sheetrock that was finished, and I asked my sprinkler guy just to cut the sheetrock out of the way so he could finish his sprinkler work. And instead of following the stud with a straight edge, this is what he did. A jagged sheetrock edge.
He said, listen here, cut the sheet.
Rock. You know how hard that is to float? It's impossible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, you got to have you can do a wide piece of tape.
Yeah, it's best just to cut it straight and do it again. What's good, though, is we've got, we're making progress. The sprinkler system right there behind me is in the wall now, so that's progress.
It's in the wall. It's up to code. It's holding pressure.
Yeah.
Man.
So we are in an unfinished hotel.
Yeah.
The Heirloom Hotel here in Laurel, Mississippi. It's a project we've been working on for a very long time. It's why I'm filthy today, Jim. We are trying to hit a tight deadline. And so the Masons are here working this weekend, smoking cigarette after cigarette. Hey, boys. And hopefully they're going to get this done. So forgive us if you hear some grinding in the background. They are cutting stone.
I don't know that they're working all that hard.
Masonry's kind of hard to do, Jim. It's a lot of angles and lines.
There's a lot of smoking going on.
They smoke. Listen to me. They smoke all day, one after another. But they lay some really good stone. Really good stone.
Yeah, well, it's all it's smoking. Doesn't cigarette smoke remind you of a great vacation? Does it not?
From the 80s, yes.
Or maybe like going out to eat as a kid.
Yeah.
You'd go out to eat and the girl would say, do you want smoking or non? That was a thing.
You'd say non and it still smelled
and
like
typically there was like about a 6 foot, maybe 5 foot wall that separated the two sections.
It was often a half wall.
And sometimes it was like a 3 foot with like some greenery.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it meant going out to eat, which was something that was special to do. And man, cigarette smoke just makes me feel good.
Well, you just keep hanging around this building around these Masons, and you're going to get plenty of secondhand smoke.
Hey, it's the weekend. I can smell it.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of fun stuff happening over here.
A lot of work, tight deadlines, but we're getting it done.
Hey, you're killing it. You're working around the clock. You're burning both ends of the candle,
I think. Yeah. You know what it reminds me of?
What does it remind you of?
The early days of downtown Laurel for us.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something about Laurel Mercantile Center Library.
No, go ahead. I love it.
No. You're just saying burning both ends of the candle. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, no, it reminds me, all the work we're doing, like how hard it is now, it reminds me of when we first started working downtown on our buildings to bring it back to life. When we first started in downtown, it was just a few of us working hard, and
it was slow. It was so slow, and it was so easy to lose motivation. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Oh yeah, man, it
took time.
Is it a slog? Is that what they say?
I've never heard that word.
That word, like when you're doing, is that the word when you're running it? Yeah, it's a slog.
Slog?
Yeah, I think it's the word. Yeah, it's the slog.
What's Latin? What's the Latin form of slog? That's a new word for me, man.
Yeah. Think of it like you're trying to you're trying to wade through
I get the
knee-deep,
feeling.
waist-deep water.
Slog, the word slog has a feeling.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I get it.
Yeah, and I think we should explain how this happened for us downtown.
Oh, I like that. That's a good idea.
A lot of people ask, how did all of this come about? How did the TV show happen? And I think to explain how we got a TV show in Laurel, Mississippi, we have to start before that.
If you go back and think about everything that had to happen before, honestly, the 10 years before, the 10-year lead up before, there was so much uncertainty when there really wasn't anything going on in downtown Laurel. You had your post-Katrina knocked whatever building was near dilapidation, went ahead and finished it off. Really weren't any people downtown. It was tough. There were only a couple businesses, service businesses, things like that. You got the courthouse, city hall. There's some business going on, but really no retail, no place to eat, things like that. Something about downtown real estate, when nobody else wants it, you know what that means? It's cheap.
Yeah.
And that means that even somebody that's the young age of 22, 23 has an opportunity to, if they have enough cash flow without many liabilities, to actually rent a place, maybe even buy a place.
Yeah.
When real estate values are so low.
Especially if you like 70s and 80s decor.
Oh man, if you're into that.
Yeah. Downtown back in 2006, downtown Laurel, that was the place to buy.
You could have your pick. You like green carpet? Come on.
Got it. And pretty good bargain prices too.
Harvest Gold appliances? We got them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's coming back,
I've heard that.
Yeah, I think we're doing one of these kitchens in a Harvest Gold kind of thing. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
When did you buy your apartment downtown?
I bought in 06. And then, because originally I was just renting an office space downtown.
Yeah.
And because, it literally an entire first floor office suite was like $350 a month.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, man.
But then after I had some business coming in, and I thought, you know what? I want to renovate something. I want to remodel a whole building. And so my thought was, if I could renovate a first floor, talk somebody into renting from me for retail, that would pay the note for the building, was the thought. And then I could take that and then start working on second floor and live out of like a loft apartment out of second floor. And that's a great idea, except when you put it into practice. Because when you put it into practice, if you remodel a first floor first and rent it out, the second floor is unfinished. Yet that's the only place you have to live. And so literally, I had a mattress on the floor in an old break room of what was an office. And then I started renovating the floor around me, essentially. So and as a single guy, that's okay. And
that's not a big deal.
Not a big deal, but you live in a renovation, in a construction zone. And
I don't know what that's like. I don't really know what it's like to live in a construction zone.
Really? Yeah.
I know what it's like to film a podcast in a construction zone.
I think you do know exactly what it's like.
Yeah, actually I do. No, so I bought a building in downtown Laurel. It took me a few years to find one, but in 2008, it was, I guess, the financial crisis.
Yeah.
We were able to buy a building downtown, and the same exact reason. There was an apartment upstairs, and there were two tenants downstairs. There was a hair salon and like an office complex.
Yeah.
And so you could rent, the two people downstairs would pay your rent and you could live for free. We were happy to be downtown. We saw the beautiful architecture. We saw the potential. And so I bought the building just as Emily and I got married. Emily is my wife. She's from a little town called Picayune.
Picayune.
Yes, down by New Orleans. And she's a good woman.
From a good town. That's a weird thing to say. She's a good woman, that wife of mine.
She's a good woman. Baby, I think you're a good woman. Just want you to know that.
She cooks and cleans, and
she runs our human resource department.
Fine woman.
All right, you got to edit the cook and clean. I didn't say that. Starting over. Let's take a break for a second, and let's tell people who we are, Jim, and how our friend group
Yeah,
has
no,
grown.
that's a good point. So if you're not following the show, or maybe you're catching it, maybe you've been following the show and you're just kind of catching little bits and pieces and not sure exactly who everybody is. I'm Jim Rasberry, better known as Mallorie's husband, Lucy's dad, Erin's first cousin, and Ben's friend, and Josh's friend.
Yeah, and I'm and sometimes confused with Josh, Ben's friend. That is Jim. Is it Jim or Josh? So Jim Rasberry,
literally the director of the show, doesn't quite know.
Years of directing, he still says, "Hey Jim," and I'm like, "That's fine.
That's
fine. I'm friends with Ben too." No, so yeah, Lucy's dad.
Yeah.
Mal's husband.
Yep.
Erin's cousin.
Yep.
And Ben's friend. That's pretty good.
I go by many titles.
Yeah. And then Mallorie Rasberry, who I think is way more interesting.
Oh, she is. Absolutely.
Tell us a little
100%.
about Mallorie.
All right. So in, let's go to 2007, 2008. Everybody, all of us are downtown. Yep. Ben and Erin are next door to me. You guys are across the street. No. That's wrong. You are downtown.
Mm-hmm.
They were not. 2000.
Let's start over. It was 2007,
2008. We're all downtown, and it was, what I say? No, let's
get our years right. So 2000.
I met Mallorie in 2007, and I was living downtown. Erin, who was in school at the time, because Erin and Mallorie were roommates. So I was down here by myself for like 5 years.
I'm glad we got that straightened out.
All right.
Ben Napier is my college roommate at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
They moved up there from Jones, and he lived with me when he first moved up.
Okay.
And so I finished ahead of him because I'm 2 years older than Erin in grade level.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so
now it's coming together.
Yeah, so I finished Ole Miss in 2006, started working, moved back to Jones County. Ben and Erin finished in 2008 and moved back to Jones County. So by the end of 2008, we just bought our building downtown. Erin and Ben lived across the street next to you, and then you lived next to them.
And then Mallorie and I got married in 2009. So 2008, 2009, we're really starting to come together as a friend group, as really a neighborhood, because it was just us living downtown. There really wasn't any other. Maybe there was like one other apartment downtown, if memory serves me right. But at that point, it was really more. We were really pushing to get an organized effort downtown. Now, Main Street started. We started Main Street in 2006, and but that committee or that organization, Main Street's Main Street Association, which is based on the blueprint of economic redevelopment in a downtown footprint, if you don't know that. But we started that organization in 2006, and by 2007, 2008, 2009, we were really getting some traction. We were getting more people downtown. You guys were downtown, and then so that was really, my goodness, that was an exciting time. There was a lot going on 2008, 2009.
At that point, I married Emily, and we were saving our money, investing in our downtown building and downtown apartment. I think Erin and Ben were remodeling their apartment across the street. I think you remodeled yours several times, or either it was an unending remodel. I'm not quite sure.
The condition of the remodel that I thought was perfect was before Mallorie moved in.
So Mallorie didn't like your remodel
work. Did not quite appreciate the quality of fixtures or work that I had put in just 2 years prior.
Yeah, she does have good taste.
She does, and it ended up looking much better, even on the limited budget that we had.
Downtown, it was somewhat dead. There wasn't a lot of happening even then. There was a small group of people working through Main Street to attempt to revitalize downtown. Mm-hmm. And part of that main effort was to put on events or festivals to try to attract people downtown.
Yeah, one of which was the weekly potluck dinner in the cat park.
Oh yes, the old Trustmark Park. Yes, beautiful. Now it's a beautiful kids park.
It looks amazing now, but I'm gonna tell you, 15 years ago, what it was a literally like a litter box. It was cats, no grass, old fountains that didn't work.
It was a really cool bank feature from the 1960s, 70s, whenever they remodeled the Trustmark. They built a new Trustmark bank building downtown, and they had these old fountains that the cats just loved. It was fantastic for a litter box.
It was so bad.
We would have these big community dinners. When I say big, there'd be like 15 people there, mainly high school friends.
I was about to say, that's us inviting the people that we thought we could talk into coming downtown one night a week. And that was a tough thing to do when you had limited resources like we did. And it was more than just the six of us. It was, I mean, at that point, you had people that were at the very least working down. Maybe they didn't live downtown, but they were working downtown and wanted to be a part of something that was growing. And so it was difficult, but it was still fun because you were doing it with your friends.
Yeah, and also during this time period, so Erin started writing her journal, Make Something Good Today, which was for her really a way to of all of the day's activities, of everything that happened, she really was trying to focus and zero in on that thing that was the best. Like just so it's just a positive way to think. Like, what was the best thing that happened today? And then she would write a little blog about it. I mean, it would be a few paragraphs every day. I think she did it every day for a decade. Every day for 10 years, she was writing that blog.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And so that's actually how, through social media, through her photo taking, through storytelling, through Instagram, and then through her blog, a lot of people began to relate to what we were doing downtown.
Yeah.
To friends hanging out in their youth, pre-children. None of us had children yet. To magical summer nights under the lights in a park in downtown Laurel. To remodeling buildings. Erin was just so good at telling that story, and people were relating to that through her blog. So I actually remember it was probably 2013, 14. Emily's grandmother in Picayune was a fan of the blog.
Yeah.
So Erin had such a big impact writing through her blog, and people at this point, there's probably 5,000 people reading, 10,000 people reading. Yeah, but it started spreading just through her storytelling.
The things she was writing about helped people connect. But then that was also followed up with like things that were happening downtown, whether it was the Christmas parade or Pancake Day, things going on during the fall and summer that we were, trying to promote activity downtown. What ended up happening is it had this just kind of magical homey feel all of a sudden. It was like people were drawn to something that was wholesome and it was fun and it wasn't overproduced. It was just people getting together as a community and having a good time.
And doing a potluck. Yeah, you're right.
And having a potluck. Yeah. And there's something special about that.
Emily and I bought our building in 2009 and we lived there until 2000 and I think about 14. We got pregnant with our first born, Sam, and we needed a little more room because we lived in a walk-up apartment without a yard.
The stairs with the baby's tough.
Yeah, so carrying the baby, that was going to be real tough. So we bought a house in the historic district, which is about a mile from downtown. And you guys, when was Lucy born?
Lucy was born in 2013, but we bought on 4th Avenue in 2012.
Okay.
And funny story about that. 4th Avenue wasn't the greatest stretch of houses.
A lot of vacant houses.
There were a lot of vacant houses at the time, and I remember somebody that lived about 2 blocks away saw Mallorie and I on the street, and we were walking, and he stopped us, and I was so excited because I thought just a couple blocks away, this is new neighbor.
Hey neighbor.
And he said, "Have y'all closed on that house yet?" And I said, "Not yet. We hadn't closed on it, but we're about to. We got contracts signed, everything's done. We're really excited to be moving into the neighborhood." And he said, "You need to back out of that. You don't need to do that." And I thought, oh my gosh, maybe you know something about the house.
Termites?
I don't know.
Those strange New Orleans termites. What are they called? Those ones that eat your whole house in like 2 days?
Yeah, they fly in and fly out.
Eat the house.
And just fly
away. Your walls just fall down.
Yeah. And I didn't want that.
No.
I don't want that.
So you thought he had some inside information?
I thought he did.
What did he tell you?
He said, how could you raise a family on that street? And I was like, I love that street. What's wrong with that street? And I realized at that moment, it had nothing to do with the inside of the house or, you know, something he knew that I didn't know. It was a perception of the community. It was a perception of the neighborhood. It was a perception of this town that essentially, why would you invest here? Why would you put your money here? Why would you raise a family here? Why, like he was so negative on this place that it didn't matter what house was on 4th Avenue. It was a bad decision. And that's when I realized we have a major perception problem. Specifically downtown, it wasn't safe. And that was another thing. You know, people didn't want to come down because it wasn't safe. And it was like, we haven't had any crime. What are you talking about? It's not safe.
Well, the safety issue would be if you were to trip, you could
nobody'd see you fall.
You couldn't call out for help.
No.
That was the safety.
You'd need
issue,
a medical alert bracelet just to get help.
Yeah. So I mean, there just wasn't a lot of people living downtown at this point.
There was, and a story I told about that time was when Mallorie and I were living downtown, and it was we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't go on a lot of vacations, but there was one time we went on vacation, and we were both so excited to leave to go to the beach for the weekend. It wasn't long. It was like 3 days. 1 day of travel, 1 day there, a day of travel back. That was going to be the extent of it. But it was a Friday afternoon. We gotten off work. We're so excited. We're so excited to leave that neither one of us closed the door.
You mean you didn't lock the door?
Left it wide open.
Oh, you left the door open?
We left the door wide open.
Downtown or?
Oh yeah, downtown apartment. We didn't realize it at the time because what we found is when we returned, a door wide open. You know what that means.
Yeah,
that means that everybody, all these people have been saying downtown's not safe, and I've been smirking at them.
Somebody's done
got me.
Kicked your door in and robbed you.
They were right.
Yeah.
And I just knew we were going to walk in, and every belonging we had, which basically the only thing that mattered to me at the moment was like the TV. And I was like, it's going to be gone. That TV is going to be gone. And it's going to take me 6 months to buy a new TV.
You were still bachelor mode.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. And we walked out. I was like, babe, you stay here. I got this. And I walk up.
You should have sent her in. Jim.
Literally, absolutely nothing was missing. And then we talked about it, and we were like, wait a minute. You didn't close the door. I didn't shut the door. I thought you shut the door. All weekend, door wide open. And so safety was a concern for a lot of people, but I think what I found at that point was it was unfounded.
Yeah, you know what I love about you, and I remember this. So in 2000, so when you left downtown and moved a few blocks away to the house, because it's a very small town, you wanted your neighborhood to look better. And
absolutely, and it didn't look great. And that was a sticking point for me.
But so what you did, you invite. So the holidays come around, Thanksgiving, all your high school buddies who are all very successful. Interesting enough.
Yeah, not bad for a few 20-year-olds. Yeah,
compared to you, they were all very successful.
Really made something of themselves.
No, so they would be coming home, and I love this story. You would start cutting your neighbor's grass. With a vacant house.
Well, yeah, and then, because it needed it.
And then you would cut the next one.
Also needed it.
And then the next one.
I mean, just if you do two, might as well do three. Now, well, again, if you're trying to, it's not that I was trying to impress my friends with like what we had. It was more of like, they're coming home. This is their home, and I don't. They already think I'm crazy for staying, so I don't want them to roll in and see, houses with foreclosure signs or worse. The neighbor right next door, they had a demolition sign on their wall, the door out front, because the city condemned the house. And so, I don't want my friends coming over and seeing that the city is dying. I want them to see a city that's growing, that's living, that's coming back to life. And even if I had to be the one to do that. So I cut yards around the house. I cut yards across throughout the neighborhood, and they typically, my friends would come home during Christmas, and when they would come home during Christmas, I want to make sure that the houses all looked good and were decorated nice. And so we'd have 1,000 feet of extension cords coming out of my house, lighting up Christmas trees and Christmas lights, and occasionally And houses that are left vacant, they don't look great on the inside. And I thought, probably need to, if the door's unlocked, go in and tidy up a bit. And maybe, just maybe, if my friends came in from out of town and saw a great looking house in a great neighborhood, they would be like, hey, are these houses available? And I could hook them up.
Yeah, I tell you, you really are a good neighbor.
Well,
you're cutting grass, you're putting up Christmas lights, you're letting yourself in just to tidy up. I think you might have crossed the line on that last one.
No. They were the only. I didn't break in. I mean, what is technically breaking in? I mean,
if the door was open, it would have been like if someone went into that apartment.
But
that
I mean, the breaking and entering, I entered. I didn't break.
Oh.
That's the thing.
And
I
you
never broke.
You did it for a good cause.
I just entered.
But yeah, I love that how Erin was, putting, focusing on the best thing every day. You were looking at the best things in our city, the best infrastructure, the best assets.
Just shining them up a little bit.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, and you know what? I think that contributes. And it wasn't that I was like the only person doing that. Again, I mean, that's there was a small group of people, but it was a group of people that were all pitching in and doing their part.
Yeah, and
that was my contribution. But you were making contributions downtown in revitalization and remodeling buildings.
Yeah, that's actually, I started, I was buying houses in the city because there were so many houses that were vacant, needed to be remodeled. As we were doing that and accumulating houses, beginning to work on them, the idea of the show began to kind of come along. There began to be talks of a potential some type of show, and as that grew, we didn't want to be in the way with our residential holdings, and so we actually focused all of our energy in the downtown footprint.
Yeah. Well, and that reminds me of a strategy that I'm pretty familiar with, which is buy low.
Yes.
And sell high.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good sound investment strategy. Speaking of sound investment strategies, one of our sponsors, and something that I'm personally proud of, is to sponsor this show, this episode, is Rasberry Financial Services. We offer investment planning and retirement planning. So no matter what stage of life you're in, we can help you accumulate, grow assets, and determine a plan that best fits you for your retirement needs.
That's right. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people think that the only people who should invest are white-collar workers, bankers, executives. I'll tell you something. Blue-collar workers need to invest too.
That's true. Just look at your hat.
That's right. Rasberry. So today I did all my welding in my Rasberry Financial hat.
I love
it. Because even if you're working in the trades, you're a plumber, electrician, carpenter, or a brick mason, you need to plan for your future. And so reach out to Jim Rasberry, Rasberry Financial Services. I tell you all the time, I believe in what you do. I think it's an important mark of legacy to help people prepare for retirement. I'm proud that you sponsor us. So thanks a lot, bud.
Happy to do it.
And I'm going to need a new hat. I got oil and grease all over it today. So
oh man, we don't splurge over at the RFS. So that's about all we got right there. That one, and you're going to have to keep it.
I can't wait to see how dirty it gets.
But speaking of growing assets, and you acquired houses.
Yeah.
And so you started realizing that really you had a love and passion for more of a commercial side.
Right. So yeah, I like the residential rental business and also remodel business, but downtown it's always been my first love, and I would say commercial real estate, but commercial real estate downtown's a lot different than if you're building a strip center and you're getting in a quality type tier 1 tenant. You're not going to do that downtown. Downtown's about meeting small business owners who have potential and going in with them in a way. You make an investment in the space, they bring in their business, and then they begin to build something in your real estate. It's not just about, return on investment. I mean, how neat is it to be able to sit in a barber chair in a space that you helped to remodel so that a young entrepreneur could build their business around it? It's kind of small town life, and it's what I really enjoy. But again, I kind of moved that direction. It was in 2014, 15, and especially in 16, because a little show called Home Town began to air in 2016, January 2016.
Amazing.
So let's jump back. So let's talk a little bit about how a lot of people want to know, how did you get a TV show? And if you'll subscribe and tune in next week, we'll be sure to tell you. Thanks a lot. We're out of time. Shut this thing down, Casey. Sorry.
Now would be a great time to have the paywall.
It would be, but we're not good at business.
We're
Go
not good
ahead,
at
Jim.
So in 2014, back to your point about Erin was writing the blog and was documenting every day in a positive light. And also she and Ben had a graphic design company, stationery company. Stationery specifically they were killing it.
She was literally doing stationery for weddings in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And we were so amazed. This was in 2012 and 13. We're just so amazed.
Weddings, the magazine was getting a hold of her. Like it was some really good stuff happening for them. And it was almost within the next couple weeks, Erin gets a direct message on Instagram that says, hey, love what you guys are doing. Follow through with that. It happened to be an executive producer with HGTV. Well, my goodness. We all go and celebrate with a nice grilled chicken dinner, because that was about all we could muster up at the time, because we're celebrating knowing that this executive producer was bound to be looking for some high quality stationery.
Yeah. Some of the best stationery.
She said she loved what Erin's doing.
Yeah.
Erin's doing stationery, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, my gosh, sky's the limit. Who knows? Maybe Fallon's using Erin's stationery on TV or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
It could be really cool. So everybody's very excited. Come to find out, this executive producer did not want stationery. She was following the blog and was keeping up with what we were all doing downtown, and was well aware of the efforts of all of us and everything that we were doing from a revitalization standpoint and trying to bring back a community. And she was a fan. She was loving it. And so that was kind of the precursor to what we didn't even know what it was going to be.
No, I remember it was, I think she wrote something like, have y'all ever thought about doing TV, to Ben and Erin?
Yeah.
And, I think that, I don't know many people that sit around thinking that, I want to do TV. I mean, I know there's people that do that, surely, but that is not something that had ever been in any conversation since I've known Ben and Erin, ever. They asked that question, and of course, Erin and Ben had not thought about being on TV, but they were committed to telling the story of our town.
Mm-hmm.
And so, from Erin and Ben's perspective, when they got this call, they realized it would be a way to promote the town, the project that we had been working on for almost 10 years at this point, 2014. Right. And so they were like, let's go for it.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say, how did you get a show? And we'll spend a lot of time going to talk to small towns about our story of revitalization. Mm-hmm. And that's usually the thing that people are really wanting to know. They're wanting to know, how'd you get the show?
Tell us about the show.
How'd you get the show?
And that's fun. It's wonderful. It's been such a great experience. But if you go back and think about everything that had to happen before, honestly, the 10 years before, the 10-year lead up before, there was so much uncertainty. There was so much we didn't know if what we were doing was making a difference, but we were having fun.
Yeah, and we believed in it.
And we absolutely 100% believed in it. And I'm telling you, if I had it to do all over again, I'd do it exactly the same, whether knowing there was a show or not, because I think any community, anybody that's passionate about their community, passionate about where they're from, and have a group of people around them that share in the same vision, there's zero wall in front of you. You move forward because you start off with us coming together. We have a common mission. We come up with a game plan. We include others. We start putting a plan together and bringing it to reality.
Yeah.
And then seeing results. That's very rewarding.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And so, the show's been great. But that 10 years.
So what I love, just to kind of, what I'm getting at here is, you should, and what we're getting at together is you should really focus on what you believe in.
Yeah.
not knowing exactly what the outcome will be. Work hard, keep on working, because you never know what it's going to become.
Yeah.
So 2015, we filmed this pilot episode, and it aired in January 2016. And at that time, it was one of the highest rated shows for a pilot on HGTV.
Home run, grand
Yes.
slam.
Yeah, and I would like to think it was just the production companies doing a great
Oh,
job
the
on
talent.
edit,
The
Erin and
talent
Ben
alone.
being talented. I think maybe Jim had a cameo. Obviously that helped with everything.
We had about a 10-second scene in that first
I
episode.
can't remember it. But what's interesting, it was one of the highest rated pilots.
Yeah.
Now there was also a snowstorm
Oh yeah.
in the Northeast.
That's right.
And
It was like from Maine to basically Florida.
people were stuck in their house.
Yeah.
So then this episode airs, and it was so highly rated that the network ran it again just to be sure. And after that, they picked up season 1 of Home Town, which again, we're in season 9, 130 episodes, and
Amazing.
so it's amazing that result is not what we had planned for.
Right.
And I think that's the takeaway of the story of Laurel and of Home Town is, again, you don't know what the end will be.
Yeah.
Um,
And sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's not what you expect. Sometimes it's not what you want.
yeah,
But if all you're worried about is the final thing, then you're going to miss all the good stuff in between.
yeah.
And I mean, there's that cliche saying about it's about the journey and not the destination, but honestly, it's true.
Absolutely. So, yeah. So that's a little breakdown of how we met the Napiers, the Nowells, and the Rasberries, and how a TV show, HGTV's Home Town, has come out of that. Thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching our show and our podcast, and including the Masons who are working. We appreciate you sitting through their sound. It's really beautiful. You need to come to Laurel to see this project. You also need to come see us at the Scotsman General Store, where we film HGTV's Home Town in the wood shop.
Not only can you see it, you can smell it.
By the way, that reminds me of our second sponsor,
Ah.
Laurel Mercantile's Scent Library.
Library.
Yes, we do not currently have a cigarette candle, but that might be
What an idea.
that might be something we should put on the list. We love to tell story through scent. The candle Jim has right there is Garden Mint,
Garden mint.
and
Same as I had last episode.
is it strong enough to overcome the?
It's good. I don't know if it's that good, but it's good.
No, thanks so much to Scent Library.
I think that's called a menthol.
Can you mix it?
Get it?
Thanks so much for listening. Come see us in Laurel, and we'll come back at you with another episode very soon. Thanks.
See
a
you
lot.
soon.
Thanks, guys.
Get it? Menthol.